morning. I think it's 9-ish here. Welcome to Lake Greenwood. I am not real sure how the audio is gonna be. It might be a little echoey. I apologize for that. But we're at the house at Lake Greenwood. You can kind of see the lake behind me. It's also out this way. I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit and hopefully you can see if it doesn't just totally blow it out. But you can kind of see the lake out there. I am here by myself today. It's January 3rd, 2020. Happy New Year. We came out New Year's Eve, my husband and I and 2 children. On New Year's Day, my son left. He had to work yesterday, so he had to work Thursday. So he left New Year's Day and went home. And then yesterday, my husband went to work. He came back to spend the night, but he went to work yesterday, so it was down to 2 of us, me and Janie. And then this morning, my husband took Janie with him to work. She and her brother are gonna clean the office today. So I've been dropping 1 person a day, so today it's just me. And I'm glad to hang out with you. Thanks for joining me. I kind of flaked out on you after, I think, the 22nd day of Vlogmas. And I've been thinking I need to kind of wrap up and offer you at least a little bit of an explanation for what happened and let you know that I really appreciate all the people who have watched during December, and hopefully this will kind of wrap us up for the holiday season. I will get to it in just a minute. I will tell you I am sipping coffee, and it's actually a decaf. I had a cup of regular earlier and decided to switch to decaf. I had a mint chocolate, there's a mint chocolate creamer in here that's from, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's a coconut sweetened non-dairy thing. And but then I put whipped cream on it, right? Like you do. It was really good. The whipped cream is melted, but it's still really good. With the whipped cream on it, it reminded me that I saw a post on Instagram. It's actually a video, I think, on Instagram over the holidays. I don't remember what day. It was like, I think it was a Christmas cup. It was really pretty, with mounds of whipped cream and chocolate drizzle and a cookie stuck in it. And I thought, oh, that looks like an awesome dessert. So I'm thinking there's like cake in there, brown, like baked in it or microwave baked in it, something. The caption or the audio, because it was a video, was like, just having a cup of coffee. It looked like this fabulous dessert. And I responded with, I want to have coffee at your house. So I want to tell you about this Instagram account. It's Crazy Crocheting 14. It's a lady in Detroit. She crochets like mad. I don't know that she ever uses a pattern. It's just all this amazing stuff just straight out of her head. I mean, she does not only blankets and hats and scarves and baby clothes, she also does even jewelry like earrings, crocheted earrings. Very cool, so give her a chance. She posts videos pretty much every day, and they're really quick. It's just usually a couple of minutes, but really fun to watch. So check out Crazy Crocheting 14 on Instagram. She's one of my favorites to follow. If I ever get back to Detroit, I was there years ago. My husband had some family near there. If I ever get to go back, I want to try to meet her because she just is an endless source of smiles for me. Well, to tell you what caused me to flake out on Vlogmas, I had mentioned that my aunt was not doing well. This was my mom's only sibling. My mother died a good many years ago, and when she passed away, and then my father died just a few years later, my children did not have grandparents. They did have one great-grandmother who was still living, but all 4 of their grandparents at that point had passed away. Janie, my 14-year-old, has no memory of her grandparents. She does remember that one great-grandmother who was a sweet lady and loved children a lot, so I'm glad she remembers her. But my aunt really tried to step in and fill that void a little bit for my children, and for me as well. having lost my parents. I'm an only child, and she kind of took me in and treated me like one of her own. We had always gotten along and been close, but it was a little different after my parents were gone. My aunt had been ill for 5.5 years, and during that time, 12 times previously, doctors had told her son that she was not going to make it, that her time was very short. And in a sense, they were right, but she pulled through each one of those times. But the 13th time was different, and they had told her shortly after Thanksgiving that they thought it was going to be soon that she would pass away. On the 23rd, Monday the 23rd, I went to visit more with her son and daughter than with her. She was not really out of bed, I don't think, past about the 22nd. And I stayed with them a little bit, got to visit. I was home on the 24th, but on the 25th, I knew that my cousin, her son, had been staying round the clock with her. He had not been home since the weekend, maybe Friday or Saturday. I think he went home just briefly then, like to go home, take a shower, and get some clothes or something. But I wanted to be there for him more than anything else because he was there mostly by himself on Christmas Day. His family came a little bit later in the day. But I got there in the afternoon, and about hour and a half after I got there, she passed away. So a really difficult Christmas, but not tragic. My aunt was 84. She had lived a genuinely good life in the sense that she had done the things that were important to her. She had pursued dreams that she had and set a wonderful example for her family. She was a devout Christian woman and lived her faith. So I am grateful to her for the example she set, not just for me, but for my children as well. So anyway, we decided that was not what we want to do for our Christmas tradition next year. So we'll have to come up with something as a family that we can be together and remember her, but also move forward in our own lives and hopefully set good examples for those who follow us. Okay, let's talk about what I actually have gotten done. There was very little, frankly, but I'll show you a little bit of what happened once I got to the lake. First, I actually have something finished, and this is something I started a while back in the fall. I haven't looked up what day I started, but I think it's Loose Shawl Means Light by Teresa Headland. And the yarn I used was from Into the Wool. The minis were in our goodie bag, and then I got from Dana of Unwind, dyed the minis. She also dyed a coordinating full skein. And I just think this turned out great. I really, really like it. The pattern ends on the last stripe. I started to make this stripe, it's a little bit different. Started to make it like the others and add another stripe of the coordinating, but honestly, I just didn't have the brain space to make even minor adjustments to the pattern, so I just did exactly what it said. But you start at this point here with just a few stitches and start adding in stripes here, and it's garter stitch. So really not difficult at all. And then you have these little sections where it's just some extra wraps to create those little kind of bubble effect in here. There's lots of ends to weave in, but honestly, I've only got, I think, about 6 or 8 left. I was going to show you what I do. This may not be news to you, but when I've woven in lots of ends but haven't cut them, can you see that little knot right there? I don't know if I can do it so you can see it better. There's a little knot in the end. Once I've woven it in, if I haven't clipped it, I tie a knot in it, so that way I know for sure which ones I've done. So all of them have a knot in them except these, and I think the very first end. So anyway, not at all a difficult project. I really enjoyed it. I just have to finish weaving in ends and block. So again, it's the loose shawl. It's available on Ravelry. It may actually also be available on her website. I'm gonna try to get that for you. I'll try to maybe put it on the bottom here. But it is brixtonpearl.wordpress.com, BRIXTONPURL. I'm not positive that the pattern is available there, but that is the associated website. The other thing that I've been working on is my habitation throw. It stalled. Even though it's very simple, I just couldn't concentrate. So I did pick it back up and I have started decreasing. So I've actually gotten quite a bit done. I've got, I think it's 14 minis in here. So a little bit more than you might do if you were using just Advent minis. So anyway, this is what I've got. And this, you can't really tell yet, but I have made the turn and started decreasing. I've got lots of minis left. I did not bring any additional ones to unwrap. I don't think I've unwrapped any since the 22nd, so I'll get back to it and I'll post pictures somewhere when I get most of that done. What I did, in light of just not being able to focus on something, I wanted something. And if you are a knitter, crocheter, quilter, any of that, but I think particularly, maybe embroidery as well, something that you take with you. Sometimes it helps, even if you can't work on it, just to have it with you. And it's very tactile. I didn't realize how tactile I was until I started knitting a lot, and how much the feel of yarn and, well, fabric too, honestly. When I started sewing a lot, I realized how much the feel of the fabric and the yarn matters to me. So I wanted something that was as mindless as I could make it and that I could keep with me, and if I messed it up, no big deal. So what I did was to cast on a sock, and my tension is terrible. I've got laddering between DPNs. I've got some rowing out, which should not happen when it's straight up knit stitch, but you can see there's some errors in here. But I just needed something that I knew I didn't have to think about. So I cast this on, I didn't remember what day, probably Sunday or Monday before Christmas. No, I take that back, Christmas Eve, because I did a Christmas Eve sock cast on. I started to try to do a pattern and I thought, not a good idea. So I got the cuff going and just knit, knit, knit. I am using yarn from One Twisted Tree, Danny of One Twisted Tree. She is no longer in the dyeing business, which is sad because her yarn is awesome, but she's moved on to other things. So, and the colorway is Frozen Forest of Dean, which I think is a Harry Potter reference. Anyway, One Twisted Tree, and it's a 75/25 merino nylon. It's been a really good option. It was something that, like I said, I could do without thinking about it. I can put in a heel or just do an afterthought heel. I haven't decided yet. It's probably gonna be, I'm gonna do at least a couple more inches. My hand span is about 8 inches, and I often use that to measure sock legs. My brain is still not fully engaged. So how are you? How's your new year? Is it going okay? So far so good. I've been at the lake. The only place I've been since we got here is Janie and I went shopping yesterday. Otherwise I've just been hanging out here. Thanks for joining me, by the way. I think I said that earlier. I'm really glad you're here. Okay, so Janie and I, in our shopping, went into Greenwood. There's not a yarn shop in Greenwood. So if you're in the Greenwood area, get on it. But there is a quilt shop. I don't know if they were open yesterday. I didn't try to go over there, but we did go to Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Michael's is at the mall. There's a mall in Greenwood, so we went there first. I found a coat on sale, 70% off, which I'm really proud of. It's a black, sort of a peacoat style. Anyway, proud of that. But I also kind of picked up a new hobby, because we all need that, right? I don't really draw. My daughters do, but I've always wished I could. I don't think I'll ever be talented the way they are, but I picked this up. Doodle Dogs and Sketchy Cats. So it's this kind of stuff. Can you see? And drawing, you know, expressions on cats, that kind of stuff. So I'll show you what I've started on. I bought myself a sketch pad. I buy them frequently for my girls, but never for me. So let's see. I'll just show you the good ones, right? What do you think? My problem is I don't do well changing perspective. Once I learn how to draw something, I pretty much draw it that same way forever and ever. I kind of like the little cats that are facing the other way being grumps, because I think that suits cats, right? Do your cats do that? So this is what I did yesterday. It's kind of sat and doodled cats. I will eventually work on drawing dogs. Eventually. All right, let me show this one. These are cute. And this one, I'm trying to kind of put them on little rugs, see how that goes. So, new hobby. If it ends up not being my thing, I'll either give the book away and give the drawing pad to my girls, or who knows, maybe I'll fill it up with just cats. Okay, the other thing that I was gonna share with you, this is getting kind of long, but I'm making up for missing the last few days of Vlogmas. This is something that came in the mail, I don't know, last week, I think. It's started as an Advent project from Cappy. She was the Yarn and I. She's actually gonna be changing a little bit to the Yarn and Us with her husband. I think he's retiring. And so they're gonna be working together. I'm not even sure exactly what the new project kind of stuff is gonna be, but she was putting together a yarn swap. She did it last year with dyers. So you send in 25 minis. She then mixes them up with the other 24 dyers that are participating and sends it back. Well, this year she had some people that didn't get their stuff in or had to drop out or whatever it was. So she warned us pretty early on that it was probably going to be more of a January New Year's project. And it came in, and with everything that was going on, I thought, I'm just gonna wait till I have somebody to share it with. So it's gonna be you. So all I have done is cut open, sorry for the crinkling, cut open the bag. So this is what's inside. Does it look good? Ooh, it really, really does. Oh my goodness. All right, so apologize for all the crinkling. It's in, look at that. Oh my goodness, does that not look spectacular? And there's a card. So let's see, she sent a really cute card last year. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, warm winter wishes. That is really cute. Now I want marshmallows. All right. It says, kick back and have a relaxing holiday. And she said, you deserve it, Cappy. And there's a note in here. I won't read that right now. Let's see. All right, there's something else that I will read later. So I think this looks pretty spectacular. Look, there's like a 50-gram skein. Hibiscus Circus, Carnival of Colors. Oh, that's from Cappy. How gorgeous is that? Oh my goodness. And I have, oh, there's me. I printed off some blueberry wrapping paper to use. I'm really excited about this. I need to look at this and see what kind of project I'm gonna do with this. Maybe look at what some other people are doing. So thank you, Cappy. It is gorgeous. Oh, I'm so glad I waited and shared that with you. All right, I'm looking at my notes. I did actually make some. Well, thanks again for coming back and visiting with me. I'm probably gonna pop in a couple of pictures around the lake house so you can see. I took down Christmas decorations. Probably should have recorded before I did that, but I took down Christmas decorations yesterday and ready for the new year. Well, I hope that the start of your new year has been peaceful and joyous, and you've had a chance to be with those you love. Happy New Year.